So this is it, the final Breeders' Cup video for the 2014 season. It is for the Breeders' Cup Classic. At a mile and a quarter on dirt, there are 14 3-year-olds and up entered, plus one also eligible. So I'm not going to babble anymore, and here is the field for this year's Classic. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to run through the field very quickly, and then I'll go back and talk about each individual horse. Number 1 is Prayer for Relief. Number 2 is Cigar Street. Number 3 is Imperative. Number 4 is Morena. Number 5 is V.E. Day. Number 6 is Shared Belief. Number 7 is Bayern. Number 8 is Zevo. Number 9 is Toast of New York. Number 10 is Footbridge. Number 11 is Tonalist. Number 12 is Candy Boy. Number 13 is California Chrome. Number 14 is Majestic Harbor. And also eligible, he will wear number 15. But he's probably going, as I said in the marathon today, is Big Casanova. So, back to the beginning. Prayer for Relief is coming out of post 1. As I said, Irad Ortiz Jr. will ride for Dale Romans. He's by Jumpstart, 3rd in the Woodward, and then 4th in the Whitney. And like with the distaff, I have pros and cons about each horse. Some pros about him is that he has shown up in big races outside of Churchill. For some whatever reason, he does not like Churchill Downs. And a con is that I don't think he's as good, older horse-wise, as, say, Majestic Harbor or Zevo. I think of the older horses that are entered, I think he is the weak link in the race. And I think, honestly, all 7 3-year-olds, probably with the exception of, I would say, Candy Boy, are better than him. I think Candy Boy and him are... Candy Boy is probably, like, slightly ahead of him. But I'm gonna say that, I would not be surprised if Prayer for Relief goes off as the longest shot on the board. Number 2 is Cigar Street. John Velasquez will ride for Belmont. He's by Street Sense, 2nd in allowance, and last time out won the Homecoming. His sire won the 2006 Juvenile, and then turned that into a Derby win. He is also going to be the sentimental favorite for this year's Classic. His uncle, his dam's half-brother, is 1995 Classic winner Cigar, who sadly, of course, passed away a couple weeks ago. And also, one of his co-owners is Richard Lewis, formerly of the Miami Heat. He's, I believe, recovering from an injury, so I think he's at Santa Anita for this year's race. So basketball fans can also root for him that way. Lack of stakes experience, but I think it was because he had been injured quite a bit in his career. So he hasn't had that stakes experience that most of these other horses, actually all of these other horses, with probably the exception of V.E. Day, who's only had 3 stakes races. But I think he has a big chance to win this year's Classic, as well as several others, but we'll get to those in a little bit. Number 3 is Imperative. Frankie Dettori will ride for George Papadromo. He's by Bernardini, 5th in the Austin again, 3rd in the Pacific Classic. He won the Charlestown Classic and then ran well in the Gold Cup at Santa Anita. There's a downside is that he likes to jump between being on the board and off the board, which is better than being off the board completely. But I'd rather see him be on the board all the time. And against this field, I don't see that happening. Number 4 is Morena. Javier Castellano will ride for Eric Gillo. He's by Ghost Zapper. Before I get into his pros and cons and stuff, he has a jockey change from Junior Alvarado to Javier Castellano. That's a big one. In fact, that he gets the defending Eclipse winner for top jockey. DQ'd from his last because he caused the spill of Wicked Strong, and Rajiv Murrah is now out of the Breeders' Cup because of it. But before that, he was second in the Woodward, and he also picked up his Grade 1 win this year when he won the Whitney. He will be part of the Pace, which is a pro, and will keep Byron honest, which will benefit a closer. Downside is that he was 10th in last year's Classic, and he's certainly a better horse this year than he was last year. And he was very good last year, towards the end of the year. But I think he'll be up track again just based on his race from last year. Actually, number 6 is one of those closers that could benefit from a fast pace, and that's V.E. Day. Joe Telmo will ride for Jimmy Jerkins. He's by English Channel. 6th in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and he won the Travelers. Pros is that he defeated Tunnelist and Bayern 2 back in the Travelers. They were 3rd and last, respectively. Cons is that this is going to be his 3rd greatest stakes start, and he ran so well in the Travelers. I think he surprised everybody. I mean, I wasn't too surprised because I had him as my dark horse, but just the way that he beat Wicked Strong on the nose. Ran okay at Belmont, but I think it's clear that Saratoga is his favorite track. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets there at the end, but I just, with these horses that are in this year's field, I think he might be a tiny step below them. Number 6 is Shared Belief. Mike Smith will ride for Jerry Hohendorfer. He's by Candy Ride. Won the Austin again and Pacific Classic. Some pros about him. Undefeated on dirt. Actually, undefeated, period. He's never lost a race. And he passed his 10 furlong, which is a mile and a quarter, and dirt test. He passed the dirt test at Los Alamitos, and then he passed the mile and a quarter test at Del Mar, even though it was a synthetic surface. And of course, he won on dirt again at Santa Anita. He is the horse to beat. I believe he's beatable though, because that Awesome again looked good, but FedBiz gave him everything he needed to handle. That might be a good thing for him because it will gives him more education and will get him ready for this race. But, and this is the con, other than Toast of New York, he has yet to face Tonos, and he has yet to face California Chrome. That's where he's going to face them. Tomorrow in Classic. I don't know. I think of the 3-year-olds, he is the best horse, but I think he is very beatable in this race. Number 7 is Bayern. Martin Garcia will ride for Bob Baffert. He is by Awfully Wild, who already has a Breeders' Cup winner and Juvenile Fillies winner to be more exact, She-Be Wild, in 2009. Won the PA Derby, 10th in the Travelers. Pros will be part of the early speed. Watch out. If he gets a loose lead, he will probably go gate to wire. Although with Moreno in the race, and this is a con, in the fact that if they hook up on a speed duel, both of them will fade. And also, I don't think Byron really wants 10 furlongs. The Travelers really didn't look great to me. His race, like, overall. And it showed because he was last. On the flip side, he did defeat California Chrome in the latter's returns for, race since being denied the Triple Crown. But I just feel like that he could go either way. I mean, he did win the Haskell, and Untappable rebounded to win the Cotillion, but as I said yesterday, her Cotillion really didn't look so great. But yeah. So I don't think Bayern is a horse that I'm going to put in my top 3. Number 8 is Ziva. Jose Lezcano will ride for Chad Brown. He's by True Direction, 2nd in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and 4th in the Woodward. A pro is he had a 6-win race streak before it was snapped in the Woodward, including winning the Suburban over Moreno. And a con is that he's never run outside of New York. I don't know if he can travel with his track because he's never been outside of his home state. A New York bred has never won the Classic, so we'll see if he can get the Classic and overtake Funnyside as the leading money winner for New York breds. Number 9 is Toast of New York. Jamie Spencer will ride for Jamie Osborne. He is by The Way You Are. Before I get into Toast of New York, I just want to say this will be Jamie Spencer's final race in the U.S. He is retiring to, I believe, I think he's working for an owner in Europe. So good luck to him in that. And he's actually the second of the 2 European riders that are in this race. Frankie Dettori, who's riding an American, is the other. But this horse is all European. Despite his name, he's actually born in Kentucky. 2nd in the Pacific Classic and 6th in the Belmont Derby. He won the UAE Derby and was going to come to Kentucky Derby, but I think something happened and they decided to skip. So he's done first U.S. race in go. Corner Bland, second U.S. race went very well. So that the pro is that he's faced Stock Company in the U.S. and Dubai. The con is that this will be his first dirt start. I'm not sure he actually has the pedigree on his dam side. His sire was all turf, but his sire's female family has produced 2 Belmont winners. They produced the the late Jazzo, who sadly passed away last week, for Shadwell, and then for Coolmore, of course, the one and only Rags to Riches, who defeated Curlin and Hardspun in the '07 Belmont. Mile and Court is definitely not going to be a problem for him. The fact that he was second in the Pacific Classic, and he won the UAE Derby and a mile 3/16. I think this is like really a test to see if he'll take to dirt for next year for Meydan, which is now a dirt surface. For the first time, it was dirt at the old track Nadal Sheba, but it had been Tapeta, and then they switched it to dirt to get more American horses to come. But Twisted New York, I think, has a good chance. My only concern, though, is that the dirt. I'm not 100% sure how well he'll take to it. Although he's training over it, most likely, leading up to the Classic. Number 10 is Footbridge. Rafael Bejarano will ride for Owen Hardy. He is by Street Cry. Before I get into Footbridge's information, reason why I almost said Street Sense is that Street Cry is the sire of Street Sense, and he is also the sire of Zenyatta. Sadly, we just lost Street Cry a few weeks ago to a neurological problem. So he's going for his first big win as a deceased sire. But Footbridge was third in the Awesome Again, second in the San Diego. Pros, he's been on the board in both graded stakes he's been in this year. And of course the con is that he's never won a stakes race in his career, but his trainer's been around some great horses. He was around Street Cry, Owen Hardy, and then I believe before that he was a Baffert assistant. So he was probably around some of Baffert's early horses. And then Owen Hardy trained what was then the final dirt winner of the Dubai World Cup, Well Armed, who unfortunately did not do so great in the dirt mile when he ran in the Breeders' Cup, but of course he rebounded very nicely. I really like Footbridge. I felt that his Awesome Yen was actually one of the better races that day, run by a horse that day. But when you add in the other horses who are going to be in this year's field, I just feel like he's a tiny bit below. I think he's, as I said, I believe he's certainly better than Fit for Relief. I think next year could be his year, though. Number 11 is Tonalist. Joel Rosario will ride for Christophe Clement. He is by Tappet, third in the Travelers, and then he won the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Pros is that he shows up on the big days and has never been worse than fourth in his career. Of course, he spoiled California Chrome's Triple Crown chance. He ran okay in the Jim Dandy. He wasn't great. I think he did improve despite finishing third in the Travelers. He ran quite a bit better there. And then after Wicked Strong was taken out by that spill in the Byron Reno. In the Gold Cup, he was able to capitalize. The con is that all his stakes wins have been at Belmont. I don't know. I mean, he's shown that he really can't travel with his track. But I'm thinking that changes for the Classic. I just feel like that he will be much better horse for the Classic than he has shown in the past. In his past non-Belmont starts. Number 12 is Candy Boy. Corey Nakatani will ride for John Sadler. He is by Candy Boy. Second in the West Virginia Derby, third in Pennsylvania Derby. Pros. He has a 6-win over the track. He won the Lewis. That's it. He was. I just feel like that he's really the only second tier 3-year-old this year. He's actually also, I believe, the only non-grade 1 winner that's a 3-year-old. Because yeah, I think he is, because Day has one, Shared Belief has a couple, Byron has one, Tonalist has a couple, California has several. Yeah, he's the only non-grade 1 winner who's a 3-year-old that is in this year's race. And it would have been worse had Wicked Strong, because he also is a grade 1 winner. Number 13 is the one that everybody's going to be watching. The superstar, other than Shared Belief, California Chrome. Victor Espinoza will ride for Art Sherman. He's by Lucky Pulpit. 6th in the PA Derby, 4th in the Belmont with Wicked Strong. Won the Santa Anita Derby in San Felipe at Santa Anita before taking down the Kentucky Derby. Did not look good at Parks. That's the con. But I'm not 100% sure. He's really the same horse he was in spring. The winner in spring. I really did not like that PA Derby. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. But yeah, I think he finishes off the board, and I really want to see him win. I don't see it happening with him. Number 14 is Majestic Harbor. Tyler Bays will ride for Sean McCarthy. He is by Rockport Harbor, and yesterday I mentioned about Valiant, Amelia, and Gary Mandela, and how Gary works for HRTV. Sean is the other trainer who works for HRTV. So they're all rooting for those two horses. 4th in Awesome again, 6th in the Pacific Classic. Pros is that he won the Gold Cup at Santa Anita, and he won the Tokyo City. Both of those were at Santa Anita, so I think having stakes wins is huge, especially the Gold Cup, which is at the Classic distance. Cons are that his last 2 races haven't been up to that form, but they one was on synthetic and one was at a 1.125 miles. I feel like that he is a horse who needs at least 1.25 miles. Plus, his little brother finished 3rd to California Chrome in this year's Derby, and that's Danza. So if you're a fan of Danza, you should be rooting for Majestic Harbor. The also eligible is Big Casanova. Elvis Trujillo will ride for Peter Miller. Although he's, as I said, more likely to go in the marathon. 8th in the Jockey Club Gold Cup and 1 allowance. Had stakes experience in Peru, but has not done well in the US. So that is your field for this year's Breeders' Cup Classic. From top to bottom again. Number 1, Prayer for Relief. Number 2, Cigar Street. Number 3, Imperative. Number 4, Moreno. Number 5, VE Day. Number 6, Shared Belief. Number 7, Bayern. Number 8, Zevo. Number 9, Toast from New York. Number 10, Footbridge. Number 11, Tonalist. Number 12, Candy Boy. Number 13, California Chrome. And number 14, Majestic Harbor. Big Casanova is your also eligible. Up next is the picks. So for my picks for this year's Classic, I had decided that I was going to throw out California Chrome and Shared Belief. I really hated doing that, but I just feel like that they're not going to be anywhere near the end. I wouldn't be surprised if Shared Belief is. I'd be a little bit surprised if California Chrome is though too. I've been going back and forth between 3 or 4 horses. In the end, I decided that this horse has everything that fits what I think will be the Classic winner. And I'm going with Majestic Harbor. I'm not thrilled with his post, but I feel like he's going to be coming from behind anyway. And if there's a speed duel between Moreno and Bayern, he is the horse who's going to be there to pick up all the pieces. I feel like that Tyler Bays fits him like a glove. And it will be good to see Tyler Bays in the winner's circle after everything that he has been through in his career recently. And I think Mile and a Quarter is just the distance that he needs to get the win. In second, I have Tonalist. I feel like that he can travel with his track. And I think he will love Santa Anita, and I just feel like he's at this point a little bit better than California Chrome. I don't know if he's really on Shared Belief level, but I think he's tomorrow I think he will be better than Shared Belief. And for show, it's another horse who I think needs a mile and a quarter, and that's Zevo. I think both of his races, graded races that he's done extremely well and have been at a mile and a quarter. So that's why I'm choosing those 3 is because I think those 3 horses need at least a mile and a quarter to win, and I'm going with Majestic Harbor on top. For my dark horse, I'm going with Cigar Street. I think Mile and Quarter is right up his alley and will hit him right in between the eyes. I feel like that outside of Majestic Harbor, he is the best older horse in this year's Classic. And I would really love to see Belmont in the winner's circle for the second time in 4 years. Because he won, of course, 3 years, because he won in 2011 with Drosselmeyer. So, again, Majestic Harbor to win, Tonalist to finish second, Zevo to finish third, and my dark horse is Cigar Street. So, thank you everyone for tuning in to all 13 of these races. Hopefully everyone has safe racing as well as today, but this will go up in a little while. And tomorrow, safe racing to all. Hope everyone returns safe and sound. I will check in probably with a preview of a race whenever. So thank you for hanging in with me, and good luck with the Breeders' Cup.